that's exciting.
I think cannabis has been referred to as a medicinal treasure trove by Dr. McIlroy, who's identified the structure of both CBD in 1963 and THC in 1964. But that treasure trove, way more than just THC and CBD, which is the darling of the moment. Now CBD's the rock star therapeutically, or maybe even more than that. It's kind of crazy. If we can kind of move beyond the fad and look at other components of the plant, to what extent are they going to be real players? And I was going to ask you, Dr. Goldstein, what have you been finding, if anything, working with the so-called minor cannabinoids, or cannabinoids outside strictly CBD and THC, which do a lot, just those two, but I think there's more there.
So right now, I work with, of course, THC and CBD with patients, but I also encourage patients to use CBG, cannabigerol. Cannabigerol comes from CBGA, cannabigerolic acid, which is what I call the mother to all the other cannabinoids. It is now available, and I do have patients taking it. It has been, it's a well-known antidepressant. It's a well-known anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer. It stimulates bone for people who may have what we call osteoporosis. It's an analgesic for some people, and again, not everybody gets the same effects. But it is just like THC and CBD in that it has its own list of medicinal properties that may overlap. I often tell people you're going to do better with cannabis when you blend, and it goes right back to the entourage. So CBG in my pediatric population has been working really well for a lot of pediatric autism patients, in that one of the number one symptoms that parents will tell you is their child is highly anxious. So if you know any children with autism, you probably know this. Anything new, anything out of the ordinary, anything out of the schedule creates a lot of anxiety and creates a lot of difficulty in being able to just function throughout the day. And I add in CBG. In a survey, almost 2/3 of patients, families reported that just adding CBG to the already existing THC or CBD regimen reduced anxiety in these children. We're also seeing about 1/3 of these kids just adding CBG in low doses, by the way, somewhere between 2 and 20 milligrams. And remember, I say CBG, but in that bottle is hundreds of compounds. There's terpenes, there's other cannabinoids. Maybe it's something else in there, but by adding that in, we have about 1/3 of patients of nonverbal patients starting to speak. So we're starting to really see that. Adding in multi-layers. I actually have a patient right now who was born with what's called a disease of glycosylation. It's a very rare syndrome, like basically every cell is dysfunctional in her body. She was having hundreds and hundreds of seizures a day. On EEG, it just basically showed that she was seizing all the time. And at age 10, she made no eye contact. She was in a stroller, and nobody had been able to help her. And this is now a girl who's 15, sitting up in a wheelchair, able to communicate on an iPad. And that's what cannabis can do. And I don't say that's going to do for everybody, but what is she taking? She takes 8 different oils, all mixed up, all low dose, four times throughout the day. And it's amazing. Her mom gets all the credit because her mom has been willing to mix and match and change things out. But it's made a big difference. When I first met her, I gave her CBD, and it didn't stop the seizures, but it helped with her alertness. She started to seem like she was more engaging. CBD did not stop her seizures. The EEG still showed a tremendous number. It was THCA, so raw THC, as you well know, that's what actually decreased her seizures by over 90%. So we must look at these other compounds. It cannot be all THC, all CBD, or that blend only. And when you look at products, and I love California for its freedom, we have all these products, but we need to start really exploring and looking into the other cannabinoids, because I really think it will help a lot more people who have not found THC and CBD to be the end-all be-all.
And I think that's where you're speaking to the uniqueness of cannabis I mean, the pharmacy and a flower aspect of cannabis, where you're actually able to, like this mother is essentially taking 8 different chemovars and creating a formula, right? And I don't think that there's another Chinese herb or Ayurvedic herb out there that's going to be able to do this. But I think that it's really exciting to see the ways that we can do that with different chemovars, and then maybe other herbs and supplements along with it, right?
This is where endocannabinonology becomes really important. And really endocannabinonology takes the focus off the cannabis plant specifically and puts it on that body. We know through a lot of research the pathophysiology that exists within endocannabinoid system dysfunction. We can, for some diseases, we still have a long way to go, we can identify what cannabinoid receptors or non-cannabinoid receptors are upregulated or downregulated. What do those receptors do at that location in the body, whether it's on the eyeball or on the skin or on the scalp or in our digestive tract. And we can actually start to make very pragmatic recommendations about what phytocannabinoids should be the lead cannabinoid. And I think Bonni just demonstrated CBD and THC are not always the lead cannabinoid. You might need THCA or THCV, like in diabetes, or something that we haven't considered yet altogether. But I think that's what's most fascinating about how endocannabinogy is pushing us to advance what we know about the science.
And I think that voyage of discovery, which is ongoing, is really exciting.